Okay, this is going to be a slightly longer video where we're going to do a bunch of edits. But first of all, I'd like to put in a music track in the background. So I'm using my workspace browser again to drag that in there. There it is at the bottom. I'm just going to put that below my video just because I like to have my music just below the video. And I'm going to rename that after double clicking on the nameplate to music. Now I'll unmute these other tracks and I'll just solo that one so the solo button works for me. You can hear the music there in the background, but there's the start of where I actually want to start because I don't want that Waves logo at the front there. So I'm going to try and drag that into place, but as I zoom in you'll notice that it's not quite at the start. So I'm going to do a thing called spot edit. If I copy the location of the start marker by going Command C, clicking on spot and then clicking onto the sample itself. I need to change that to samples, the time scale to samples. Paste that in there, you'll notice it pasted in. And now I'm going to click OK. It will jump to exactly where that sample is. Now if I go back to slip mode, after just moving that around, you'll notice that it starts right on. Okay, so there's that. That's working fine. Now there's another visual I want to sync with, and that's as we move through the fire there. So I'm going to tab to that transient you can see coming up. So if I click just before that, of course, tab to transients is on. Tab to that. There's tab to transients. And I'm going to click B to break that audio, and I'm going to drag that into place. Now this time it doesn't need to be quite as exact. Oops, wrong track. I'll put that back at the top. And I'm just going to find a good spot for that to start again. Let's have a listen to that. Okay, so you hear that crash as it goes through there. It's very slight. Now that point there, I'm just going to scrub this across here to see if I can find that point at which it goes into the mirror. I'll just move that there. Let me see if I can find that other sound down here. Not that one. Maybe that sound there. So I'm going to drag that and use that sound. Now as I drag it, it's showing on the video the start of the clip itself. So I can get rid of that solo and just solo these top two tracks. It's the music and the sound effects I'm using. These are some sound effects that I'll mute. That's a Command M to mute that. So you can't hear those now. So that's how you mute some clips, Command M. That's playing through, and then you'll hear that sound come in. Bang, so as soon as it goes into the mirror, the visual, that sound plays. And then I want the drums or the rhythmic sound of the music to start there. So I'll tab to transients there. Let me just copy the start of that sample. And I'm going to paste that in using spot edit again. And that should jump to where it starts. Perfect. Now, what I might do is duplicate and do a reverse here. So for the moment, I'm just going to, oops, I need to take spot mode off, of course. So go to slip. I'll click on that again and go Command D to duplicate that. There it is. Now I can move that out of the way because I'm in slip mode. I'm going to Command M and mute that for the moment. Now I'll go back to these ones. Just going to select all those and I'll move those onto a different track. I'll move that one over to here and I'll get rid of that fade by clicking delete. And I'll unmute this one by just Command M again. So there's that sound playing with no fade out. And I'm going to put a big fade on. Actually, first of all, I've got to reverse it. So I'll just go to Audio Suite Reverse. And I can preview this by clicking the speaker there. That'll preview it. And then I render it, which means it actually processes that sound. And I'm going to put a big fade on that now. Now, watch what happens if I try to move this. I'm in shuffle mode. I'm going to try and move it to that spot. I can't move it because what I'm actually grabbing is just the fade. So I've got to actually get rid of the fade by hovering at the end, making that smaller and grabbing a bit of the audio itself. That will now move into place. And so I can put that fade back. And of course, I'm not going to be able to move this audio around with that fade there. So let's just have a listen. Alright, so that's working well, it's coming along. So what I need to do to this is to render it. So I go down to, or up to Edits, go down to Consolidate Clip. So Option Shift 3 will do that, and then that is all, the fade is now consolidated into that clip. Of course the fade on this one is not consolidated, but that's all now working fine.